I changed my ethnic name to fit in at work, but my new boss refused to use my Americanized version. I hated him for it until the day I overheard Y- and realized I'd been running from the wrong person all along. Growing up with the name Sackling in small town Nebraska meant constantly hearing, "Can you say that again? Or do you have a nickname?" by college. I was exhausted from being everyone's pronunciation exercise, so when I landed my dream job at a marketing firm in Chicago, I introduced myself as Lily during the interview. It worked perfectly. No awkward pauses, no butchered attempts, asking about the meaning of my name. For 3 years, I was simply Lily Chen minus competent, and comfortably blending in my employee badge, email signature, business cards minus all Lily. My parents were disappointed but didn't argue. "As long as you were happy," my mother said. Though I could hear the hurt in her voice, everything changed when Marcus took over as creative director. During our first team meeting, he glanced at the roster, then looked directly at me, muttering, "Could you present the campaign data?" The room went silent. I felt my face burn as I corrected him. "It's Lily." Actually, he apologized, but the very next day did it again. This continued for weeks. He'd call me Sackling. I'd correct him. He'd apologize insincerely, then repeat the cycle. It felt deliberate, like he was trying to other me in front of my colleagues. I finally requested a private meeting to address it. "Look," I said, closing his office door. "I go by Lily professionally. I'd appreciate if you'd respect that." He leaned back in his chair. "I apologize for making you uncomfortable, but have you considered that perhaps you should be the one respecting your actual name?" I left his office fuming. Who was this white man to lecture me about my own cultural identity? I scheduled a meeting with HR for the following week. The day before my HR appointment, I stayed late to finish a presentation. Walking past Marcus's office, I overheard him on a video call speaking fluent Mandarin. Curious, I paused just out of sight. "Yes, Agma, I am still taking my medicine," he was saying to an elderly Chinese woman on screen. Then he switched to English. "Mom, I had that conversation with my employee. I told you about the one using an American name. It reminded me of you changing your name when you came here, how much you regretted losing that piece of yourself." I froze. The woman replied, "Rudu de Ketskings Everdes Shibarit, Wummer Reeprin and Aluven." My name was my father's gift to me. I silently walked back to my desk, canceled my iSure meeting, and opened my email. I stared at my signature Lily Chen suddenly seeing it through new eyes. I hadn't solved my identity problem. I'd just hidden it under an acceptable label. The next morning, I changed my email signature. At our team meeting, when Marcus said, "The settling, your turn," I smiled and replied, "Thank you, Marcus." Before starting my presentation, it wasn't about him. It never was. It was about reconciling with the person I'd been running from all along. Parrot myself.